Hi, I'm Mary Wong, and I am the author of the best-selling book Pathways to Pregnancy. I'm also the founder and director of one of North America's leading wellness clinics, a live holistic health clinic in Toronto. I am an acupuncturist of 28 years and your fertility and life strategist. I'm an international speaker, and I just did a presentation yesterday, and I said to Tracy and Sarah, I was like, you know what? I'm talking and speaking to this profession, to your journey, and I wanted to talk about how you are not your diagnosis, but I also thought it would be fair to share with you my story. So this is what I have promised you, and I am going to tell you about my story. And by the way, this is actually written in the book, and you can get a copy of this at if you're international, you can actually just get it through Audible, and you can just hear me in your ear. So let me start by saying this. I was 38 when I met my husband. I was your serial monogamer and for many years, and I didn't really settle down just because, I didn't find the right guy, or so I thought. And so when I finally met my husband, I said, you know what, there's no time to waste. Let's just get it going on. But I do want to get married. So we're trying to conceive before we tied the knot. And when we actually tied the knot, I was thinking, gosh, like, wouldn't it be great if we had a baby and like while we were at the hotel in Beijing, and the hotel was called Raffles. So it's like, okay, we can call this baby Raffles. Well, little did we know that, fast forward, I had not only blocked fallopian tubes, but they were called fluid-filled blocked fallopian tubes. So I was more than shocked. I was mortified. I'm going to tell you and be honest, because like you, who the heck thinks that they're going to have issues? Likely not very many. I mean, there's a very handful of people that say, Mary, you know what? I suspected that I had fertility challenges. For me, I totally thought no, because both my grandmothers had babies when they were 46, both of them, naturally. So surely at my young age of 38, and by this time probably closer to 40, I would still be totally fine. Except for when you have a blocked tube. So I thought it was my husband. And like, it must be because he's Belgian. It must be because he's drinking and he's smoking and he likes his pizza, right? No, he doesn't smoke. What am I saying? He wine and he drank beer. And so to discover that his sperm was pretty stellar and that my fallopian tubes were completely messed up, I had to reinvent myself. I had to go from, I would never do anything unnatural because I'm an acupuncturist. So hopefully, if you haven't watched my talk, go back and watch my talk from yesterday. And I've helped thousands of women and couples. Like, what the heck? Am I a fraud? And I had to question this for myself. But, really, I had to sit back and go, oh my gosh, I'm just a mere human being. And life's challenges, I did not expect to have blocked fallopian tubes. And so I had to dig deep and question, do I want a baby through my womb? Am I willing to go through adoption? Am I willing to go through child-free? So I didn't know, but what I chose was, no matter what, I want a child. So the child-free option was actually off the table after digging deep. So I surrendered to IVF. And when I surrendered, it was a very humbling process, as I also gave in and I surgically had my tubes removed because they were fluid filled. So not only was there a chance that the tubes they were not functioning, but the fluids within the tubes could possibly deter implantation, even if I did IVF. So we decided to take our tubes out, and then we progressed from there. And after I took my tubes out and we did another IVF, we actually got pregnant, and I was over 40 at this time. So then it became, okay, I got pregnant, but then I miscarried. So I don't know if it was a good or bad thing, because it just kept me persevering, because I'm like, oh, you know what? My body can do this. My body can be receptive to life. So really, then I just have to get back on the bandwagon and do IVF. So not only did I do 1 or 2, but I ended up doing 5. Actually, no, sorry, 8 attempted, because there were a couple of cycles where I did all the drugs, but they oversuppressed me. And they said, oh, that doesn't count. Well, guess what? I took all the drugs. I went through all the trials and tribulations and the prep work and the financial costs. It's like, of course I count them as IVFs, right? So, but through that process, at some point, I am over 40. I'm like 42 at this point. It's like, I need to see that the only way I can do this is through IVF. How many IVFs am I willing to do before I run out of money, before I run out of steam, my emotional, resilience, physically, bodily? And then, how is it impacting my work and my life? So again, I had to dig deep, and thankfully I was actually treating a patient who ended up doing adoption, and I saw that she adopted from China, and they had this beautiful little girl. So I thought, well, you know what? Maybe we can adopt. Because I'd always thought, oh gosh, how could I love something that does not come through me or does not have my genes? Because I don't know, I'm pretty tied to my genes. Not to be egotistical, but I think you get what I mean. It's like you want something that comes from you. And somehow we went through the process, and as we were going through the process of adoption, doing the home study and they call it the Pride program, so it's a course that you take that's mandatory. By that all hit around, and having been put in the list for China for Chinese adoption, what we didn't realize that during that time when we were trying to adopt, they changed the regulations and rules in China. So instead of getting a baby, in which my patient got their baby within the 2-year time from, starting the process to having their baby in hand, now by the time we hit the queue for getting a baby from China, they said to us it was going to take 7 to 10 years. So it's easy for others outside to say, oh yeah, you should just adopt. But guess what? Unfortunately, adoption's not that easy either. So I had to scratch my head and go, okay, well, maybe we do go back to IVF. And we did. It was insane. So we went back to IVF, but while we were going through IVF, we're thinking, well, if we're willing to adopt a child that's neither through our genetics, what's to stop me from adopting an egg from a donor young person? So then we did what I called the triple pronged approach. So we were, don't tell others, but we were still on the list for a bit because when you do adoption, you're supposed to have close that door of trying to conceive behind you so that you can move forward. We didn't, okay, but don't tell anybody. So we went back to IVF, and as we were doing IVF, we said, well, you know what? Enough's enough. At some point, we got to get off this wagon. So if the IVF doesn't fail, then maybe we'll actually consider looking at doing donor. So while we're doing IVF, we're looking at potential donors, and then we're also in queue for a baby in China, which was going to be another 7 to 10 years. So let's see how much more time. Okay, I should probably cut it off short now. And so in the end, it didn't work out with IVF. And this is the very first time. So you guys are privy to something I'm telling you that I have told no one publicly. And because in my book, it alludes to it, but I did not say it out loud. And there's a reason why. We ended up doing donor egg. And the reason why I didn't say it to people, not that there's shame in it at all, because there isn't. Because here's the thing. When you consider doing donor, it's not a failure. It's not giving up. Because at the end of the day, the question is, do I want a child? Do I want a future child to take care of, to love as my own, and to impact this life's future? And so that rang true for me. And the other thing I got around was, genetically speaking, this child was not mine, but biologically, it was 100% mine. Through my blood, through my oxygen, through my nutrition, I give this embryo, I give this child life. And without me, this life would never happen. So my daughter, bless her heart, growing up, she knew that she was a child conceived through donor egg. And the reason why I've held back in saying anything until now is because I wanted her to be fully conscious. There's no shame in it, so that she is a part of the story. So, because it's her story to tell. And you guys are hearing this before my mother and my family. And the reason why we didn't share it was because my mother was the one who initially said to us, or to me, Mary, adoption is not like going to the dress shop and buying a little black dress. And if you don't like it, you put it back. So she said to me that, she wasn't sure if she could love a child through adoption. So when we were going down that road, I thought, gosh, I just, if we do donor, then maybe I don't need to tell her, at least not immediately, because I want her to see and forge a bond with this child before we tell her. And so that's what we did. And then it became, we want Zoe to be old enough to know and to be clear, and just to be a part of that conversation. So thank you for listening. And I have to say, I have no regrets. And, this is a story I can share with you. So that, and no matter where you're at, here's a couple of pieces of advice, is to be open. Because as I say, your pathway to pregnancy has not been how you had anticipated to begin with. And just be open to possibility. And I want to tell you, you are not alone. You can reach out. And no matter where you're in this world, I can help guide you. Because through the pandemic, we are very creative now. We can do virtual consultations. And if you're local, of course, you can come and see us at a live holistic health clinic. And either way, you can, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see. So this is my book called Pathways to Pregnancy. And it's been touted the chicken soup for your pregnancy soul. And I love that. It was so beautiful that my patient who conceived, who actually is the founder of Book and Brunch, who reviews a gazillion books, says that every person on earth should be reading this book. So that just brings me more oomph and the confidence to say, you know what? Yeah, this book is important, because I wrote this book in the middle of the night. Every night. She was my second baby, because our child is our only child. And so you can get this through Audible. You can get it through Amazon. You can get it through my clinic, however you wish. But just know that however you go through your journey is your unique journey. And you have the resilience. You have love. And if you feel isolated, reach out to someone who can help you. And sometimes it may be professional. Sometimes it's your friend. Sometimes it's opening up to your boss. But again, I address all this stuff in my book. And so in terms of winning a consult with me, thanks for listening to my story. You have an opportunity to win a consult with me. And all you have to do is this, okay? I'm sharing the screen here, and you can just go to @MeetMaryWong and follow me there and take a screenshot of it and then DM me on that. And actually follow me also on, if you want bonus points, you can also follow me at a Live Holistic Health Clinic and at Embrace You First. And the reason why, all those are Instagram accounts. You can find me through all of this through my link tree anyway, through @MeetMaryWong. You want all this because I have free fertility talks I do almost every week I do interviews. I go on and talk about all things fertility, and I get amazing special guests that are professionals and experts in the field. And you can find that through my link tree at Instagram. Okay, so screenshot it, follow me, and then DM me with the picture of your screenshot so I can put you in the roster so that you can win a free 30-minute consultation with me. I can't wait to speak to you. Can't wait for you to reach out. And by the way, for the fertility talks, you can also DM me and share what you would like to see. What topic do you want to know about? So for example, this week coming, well, it might be past for you, I'm speaking to Dr. Dan Nayat, and we're talking about chromosomal testing, the pros and cons, because that is a question. Should we really do the PGTA testing? Anyway, so that's just long and short of it. Thank you for being here. Love you all, and I wish you well on your journey. Take care. Bye for now.